Hi, I'm Cheryl Waters, and you're listening to Live on KEXP at Home. I'm so excited for you to see this session with Valerie June. Enjoy.
Well, hey, KEXP. Thank you so much for having me once again. Y'all have been with me from the beginning. And this is the time that I'm releasing a new record. I just wanted to put some positivity out in the world for this new year. And so my new record's called The Moon and Stars Prescriptions for Dreamers. And they're just songs that come with these healing messages to help keep us uplifted in the world today. To keep our dreams a reality and growing and growing and growing. So the first song I want to play for you from the record is called You and I. And you can listen to this song in relation to you and your inner self. You can listen to it in relation to you and your best friend or your puppy or your loved one. Anyone you share this life with, you and the world. Whatever you share this life with, you can always think of it as you and I. You and your higher self, or you and whoever. We get to be in these bodies and we get to share this beautiful life together. So I hope y'all feel how true that is, that message. We wait for each other, you and I. We're stronger than lovers, you and I. So much to discover for you and I, you and I. When the love left just a friendship, that's where we found our great escape. Let a distance for perspective. See no patience, see reflected. You and I. I hope you feel it, oh yeah, yeah. I hope you feel that too. You feel it too, you feel it too. It's you and I, you and I. Is to reach for something greater. Doesn't matter now or later. Well, I heard somebody mention, is the thought is the intention. You and I, and I hope you feel it, whoa, yeah, yeah. I hope you feel it too. You feel it too, you feel it too. It's you and I, you and I, and I hope you feel it, whoa, yeah, yeah. I hope you feel it too. You feel it too, you feel it too. It's you and I, you and I. just a friendship. In the end, we always have to look to friendship, because lovers come and lovers go, and we grow old and all kinds of things change, and love changes, and life changes, and dreams change. So befriending ourselves and befriending our loved ones, that can outlast anything. Even when you're not together, even if you have to be far apart. Making a friend with yourself, you'll always have somebody there. But you know what? No matter what happens in life, there is a beauty to this impermanence and the fading and changing of all forms. There's a beauty to it. So, something like a butterfly, for example, how they go through all of those transitions, the cocoon to being a caterpillar to soaring. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And we're watching each other do that all the time, every day. We just get so busy in our day that it's hard to recognize. We don't know how long we'll get to stay here, but we do know we get to enjoy every single minute. So this song, Stay, is a song to remind us of the impermanence and the beauty of all that we witness every day. Whoa, I don't know how long I stay. No, I can't tell you lies that way. If you can believe it, since the day we first met, I've had not one regret, and darling, don't you forget. So if you can't believe it, times I've lost, I've upset, can't put thought I lost it, having you in my life was a sure bet. If you can't believe it, if you can't believe it, held tight, it felt right. Whoa, they take, we've had high fights, we both made mistakes. If you can't believe it, since the day we first met, but I've had not one regret, darling, don't you forget. So if you can't believe it, times I've lost, I've upset, can't but thought I lost it, having you in my life was a sure bet. If you can't believe it, if you can't believe it, if you can't believe it, if you can't believe it. I don't know how long I stay. 'Cause this world is not my home, I'm just passing through. And my treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue, where the angels beckon me from heaven's open door. And I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Here's another song for you. This song is called Call Me a Fool. On the record, we have the fairy godmother, and her name is Carla Thomas. Because every dreamer's journey, I don't care who you are, if you're on a dreamer's journey, you're going to cross a wizard and you're going to cross a fairy godmother. In this record cycle, I crossed several wizards, but one of the main ones was Jack Splash. Another one was Lester Snell, who arranged all the strings, Ben Rice, and all the musicians that I worked with, and it was just a lot of magic. I hope you can hear it when you listen to the record. But Carla starts out this song and she says, "Only a fool tests the depths of the water with both feet." And when she says that, me being a dreamer, I say, well, you can call me a fool. Because when you have a dream, you just have to go for it. You can't worry about the world and how they're not going to support what you're trying to do. You just got to believe in it. You just got to believe. You just got to believe it. And let the world catch up with you later. Some of my favorite dreamers are people like Dr. King. He said, I have a dream and we're still pushing to see it through. Dreams are bigger than you. You have to do it regardless, because you want to be on your deathbed and say, well, I did that damn thing. You die trying when it's a dream, you know. You let the world call you a fool. They call me a fool. They call me a fool. A heart forlorn, a heart that's gone, a new love born. Thought I had it under control, yeah. But it shook me, gripped me, grabbed my soul, yeah. Heard it pounding, knocking on the door, yeah. When I knew I had to let it go. Don't you know I wish that I could help it. Don't you know I wish that I could forget. But this new love's so strong. Well, at least your power keep me holding on. Yeah, but they call me a fool. Darling, they call me a fool for your love, baby. Don't be a fool anytime. Don't be a fool anytime. Anytime for loving you. Well, I've been wishing things had been different, but I guess it calls you for the way they meant. When a loser draw, you play the hand you sent. Beg you, borrow, give and take and lend. Well, I've been drinking, staying drunk all day. Got me creeping, but it's not late at night. Got my life twisted, turned it it upside down just to fool around. Yes, and I've been called a fool. They call me a fool for your love, baby. Don't be a fool anytime. Don't be a fool anytime, anytime for loving you. So you can call me a fool. Call me a fool for your love, baby. Don't be a fool anytime. Don't be a fool anytime, anytime for loving you. Da-da-dee-da-da-da. Anybody ever called you a fool? Da-da-da-dee-da-da. Ever been called outside your name? Da-da-da-dee-da-da. For believing in something beautiful or trying to create something sweet. Go on, let that world call you a fool. Go on, let them call you a fool. So you can call me a fool. Call me a fool. Don't be a fool anytime. Don't be a fool anytime for loving you. So you can call me a fool. Call me a fool for your love, babe. Don't be a fool anytime. Don't be a fool anytime, anytime for loving you. Thought I had it under control. I just think of all the dreamers that have paved the way for me. My mother, my father, Dr. King, Harriet Tubman, John Lennon, the list goes on of free, open-hearted individuals who made the way. So I can sit here as a black woman and sing these songs. Charlie Pride, Etta James, Sun Ra, David Bowie, so many people. So we're living in a time that we have the opportunity to make some great change in this world. Because we're living in a time where things are a little bit more open than they were. What change do you wish to see? What dreams would you like to manifest in this world of sweetness or kindness for somebody else? Somebody once said that I've been afraid of changing because I spent my life. We'll let the song say it. I just built it all around you, you know. Took my love, took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned it around. And I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hill. Till the landslide brought it down. Mirror in the sky, what is love? Can a child within my heart rise above? Can I see through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. One time makes you bolder, even she trying to get older, and I'm getting older too. Yes, and I'm getting older too. Bolder, even she trying to get older, and I'm getting older too. I'm getting older too. Took my love, took it down. Climbed the mountain and it turned around. And if you see my reflection in the snow, could be here with landslide bringing down. With the landslide bringing down. We gotta go on and make change. Plenty of time for beautiful changes to be made. I like to think of the idea of karma being charged with so many positive things that we begin to see heaven on earth. Being that change we all came here to see within ourselves and within each other. I believe. Well, I do. Thank you. So many times I just want to lose myself in the scent of a flower, or to stare at one for hours and hours. And sometimes I end up doing that. But anyways, I can't wait to come see you again. Thank you for having me. Oh, just want to hug everybody.
Well, hi, Valerie. I just want to hug you right back. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's good speaking with you again, Cheryl. I love talking to you, so thanks.
Thank you so much for bringing us into your cozy space to enjoy these beautiful new songs. And you did that classic Fleetwood Mac cover. And I love that space you're in. That fire is just so cozy and surrounded by banjos in that video. Tell me about where you are right now. Are you at home? Are you in a studio?
I rented a place during the pandemic to come and play music because what I do is I play the same song all day until I learn it. And I feel like I'm going to drive all my neighbors crazy playing the same song again and again in the apartment. So I just got an Airbnb and I've made myself at home in here with all my instruments and a cozy fire and books and records and I love it. I've been enjoying it. You know, it feels kind of strange to not be on the road, but at the same time, I feel like I'm being an artist for once now.
I imagine it feels really strange not to be on the road. Well, that room has beautiful acoustics, and I did wonder if there were people on the other side of the wall who might, start making noise during your recording. So I love to hear that you've created that beautiful little oasis for yourself. And again, those songs sounded so beautiful. You mentioned in your piece there that KEXP has been with you since the beginning, and we can't thank you enough for your generosity. We feel so privileged to have witnessed your incredible musical journey. And the last time that we spoke, which was around the release of your 2017 record, The Order of Time, we talked about how you enjoy working with a producer on creating these records and having an outside opinion coming in to kind of take a crack at your songs. And you teamed up with Jack Splash, among others. You called him a wizard just a minute ago. And for this beautiful new album, The Moon and the Stars, Prescriptions for Dreamers. And I'm wondering what elements you were excited about that he brought to this record and these songs.
Well, people like Lester Snell from Memphis, who I should have known about, but didn't, came to the table with Jack Splash. He's the king of knowing who's going to fit perfectly in a room and on a song. And so he introduced me to Mr. Lester, and we went into Sam Phillips' studio in Memphis, which was always a dream for me to get to go there and to record. And we had a wonderful day with Memphis string players adding those layers and layers and layers that Mr. Lester arranged. And then also with the horns, he invited both in LA and in Miami full horn sections of people that he's worked with on many other records that he was like, you're going to love them. And I really did. Like, for example, on the song Stay, we have this beautiful flute that goes into the meditation, and it's just something that was totally otherworldly that the flute player was able to bring forth. And so Jack was kind of amazing at finding who's going to be the perfect match for each song musically.
The songs take on a gorgeous R&B and psych production quality, and that's a slight departure from your folk and roots music of the past, which of course is still ingrained in there. But you've said that you don't think about genre when you're writing a song. So when did it become clear to you that this record was meant to head in a more R&B sort of psych direction?
Well, it just happened, really. Like, what I told Jack is that what I want to do is have a multi-dimensional record and a multi-era record, because I feel like I'm here in this body, but there's so many other layers and spaces that I love to live in my imagination, and my voice goes through many different time periods, even within one day. I wake up in the morning and I sound like a man. At the end of the day, I could sing high notes like Alison Krauss or somebody. So you think about that time of just one day, but then there's different time periods of music too that I love exploring. So Jack was really so open to all of those ideas that I was wanting to explore. Like, I was learning Logic and learning how to use beats and learning how to create and sculpt songs on digitally on the computer. And I've never wanted to do that, but I just felt like this was the time for me to start learning how to get beyond just hit record. Well, I need to understand how to get certain reverbs and sounds and which microphone is best for my voice. And some of that came from working with Matt Marinelli, who produced The Order of Time, because he is such a collector of all vintage equipment, similar to the way Dan Auerbach is. And they just kind of got into me. And so finally, for once, I put on a slight producer's hat and had a masterclass teacher in Jack Splash, who just was the professor who guided me through all of these different sessions in the studio where he was the wizard, as I said before.
Was it fun playing around and bringing these modern elements into your music?
So much fun. Oh, it just, I can't even describe it. It was like being in a sandbox with every kind of toy that you'd want to like have to work with, and I really enjoyed it. And I really think back to some of my earlier records, and I love them because they are photographs of that particular time and what I was able to work with in that time period. But I also know that, say, with a song like Got Soul, I hear it bigger. I hear it with more layers. And the photograph that I have of it is beautiful. And I also hear it in another context where it would be equal to Call Me a Fool, and how big it is and how adventurous it is in sounds and explorations. And so I think that I have these layers of the songs that I always wanted to do, but the time wasn't right. And the time was right for me to experiment and have fun this time in this way.
Well, speaking of having fun, you teamed up with another legendary Tennessee icon for a song on this record, which you performed for us today by yourself, Carla Thomas, also known as your fairy godmother. And she provided vocals on the song Call Me a Fool and also read an African proverb. What was it like working alongside the Queen of Memphis Soul?
Wow. Carla Thomas. Now, that was truly a dream come true. I am a dreamer, but every once in a while, some dreams come true, and that was one. It was amazing. Boo Mitchell, who runs his father's studio, which is called Royal Studios in Memphis, it's another historic studio there, and he introduced me to Carla, and he booked the session at his place, and so I was working in a legendary studio and with the legendary Queen of Memphis Soul.
I got goosebumps right now.
I just was like, I must be living in dreamland. Come on, pinch me now. And so Carla and we hung out from 10 o'clock in the morning till about midnight. We went to see a show in Memphis. We had a glass of wine. We talked. We just had so much fun. It was not just recording. It was hearing stories about her time singing with Rufus, her father, with Otis, with all the Stax artists, with all of the different musicians around Memphis as they've grown and stuff over time. She's a walking library of history in Memphis music, but also her voice to this day is as clear and as crystal as it was when she was singing back in the day, like on songs like Baby or whatever. I mean, her soprano and the range, I was just like, age hasn't touched your voice. What did you do? Put it in a museum or something? So I really, really loved working with her, and I think that if there was one thing I could say about my time with the fairy godmother, Carla Thomas, Queen of Memphis Soul, it would be that anyone who's able to interview her would have a host of fun, so much fun learning these stories that she's probably never told, because she just kind of does shows when she feels like it. Like the day before we went into the studio, Booker T. Jones came into town. And he performed in Memphis, and Carla she surprised everyone in the room by getting up and joining him for a few songs. So people never know when Carla's going to show up and when she wouldn't. She's going to surprise you with a song. She's just like that, But when she does, it's like a treat, It's something you couldn't even dream up.
What a priceless experience to spend time with her. You should interview her. I would love to hear that conversation.
Well, I secretly did film some of the conversations that we had, so I have to ask her. She saw the camera, so she knows, but I have to ask her if she would be okay with me sharing the footage, because these stories are incredible. You want to hear these stories.
I do want to hear them. You make me want to hear them. Well, you talk about what a dream that was, and you talk about dreams a lot. You talk about keeping our dreams a reality and also keeping them growing and growing. And it's such an inspiring and uplifting message. The concept of dreams is sprinkled heavily throughout this album. Last time you were at KEXP, you mentioned that sometimes songs come to you in dreams. And I'm wondering what about the act of dreaming brings so much inspiration to you, do you think?
Well, the song Why the Bright Stars Glow on this record came in a dream, and I was like so glad to get it. But when I think about dreaming with this record, it's like I think about my personal dreams, like to share poetry, to share art, to share music. But really one of my biggest personal dreams is just to be unfiltered and boundless in my creativity. If I want to paint, paint. If I want to dance, dance. Don't have that voice inside that tells me, no, you're not a painter, you can't do it. You know, like working beyond what my mind will tell me that I can do. And so I think about that personally, but I also think about it as a dream for humanity, like a dream like what Dr. King had for us, that we might be able to live in harmony with each other and that we might have a more peaceful society. And I think about all of that and I think, well, how can we make that real? Because we're still pushing to make that real today. And why does it take so long for a dream to manifest? And I just want to understand the anatomy of a dream. So not so much sleeping dreams as dreams for things to manifest in the physical realm in the world. And so I just wanted to be a dreamer because I wanted to see what is the anatomy of a dream ingrained in my soul. I want to know what it's like to make something that you see in your mind's eye real in the world. And so when I hold one of my records, I'm like, whoa, it's here. First it was here, and now I'm holding it in my hands. And when I'm gone, somebody can find it if they want to, and they can enjoy it. So, or it might inspire someone else to create something else. And so dreams become so big, and they aren't about you, and they're bigger than you, and they're things that I'm fascinated by, and I also think that there are ways in which we create worlds within this world. Like sometimes I think about the world and I think, how do we change the world? But instead of thinking that way now, what I think is, how do we create more beautiful and more mindful worlds within this world? Because I know if we have enough of those bubbles popping up of sweetness, then the world will change. And so these are dreams and thoughts that I explore. And as I explore them, I need poems, I need artwork, I need songs like A Change Is Gonna Come from Sam Cooke, or Don't It Make You Want to Come Home by Swamp Dogg, or I need these kinds of things to keep me encouraged, to keep me hopeful, to keep me keep the heaviness from weighing me down. And so these songs that I'm presenting in this record, they're prescriptions. And I call those that I named and many more, quotes, anything you can think of, fashion colors, those are my prescriptions. And we all need them. We all need prescriptions for just beauty and to keep us alive and keep our hearts open. Because as we get older, they can close.
I'm glad that you do talk about that distinction between sleeping dreams, which I asked about, but this bigger bringing dreams to life, because I follow you on social media and you do encourage and inspire me to actually dream and to try to make my dreams a reality. And you seem to be in a really centered and blissful place, and it encourages me. And I wonder if you did a lot of work to get to that space where you are now, or do you just feel like maybe it's part of your constitution? Have you always been like this? Were you surrounded by people growing up who kind of brought that out in you and it's been part of who you are since you were a child? Or did you work hard to get to this sort of centered space that I feel that you're in? At least that's what it appears to me.
Well, every day, like, it's work. Every day. It's like a practice. Like, it has to be like I wake up and I have to start it then. Before everything that's heavy starts to come, I have to start balancing it before it even starts, before I even open my eyes. And so, you know, it's anything from listening to songs to dancing. I dance every day. Or taking my walk, or, you know, sometimes I can't sit to do a meditation because I'm up and I'm moving about. So doing it when I'm in motion and like just like trying to keep myself tuned to the mindset I need to be in to think magically about the world. And that's constant. It really is, because whenever I like take the time to tune into what is really going on by reading the articles in the news and things of that sort, it shifts my energy. And so I want to know what's going on, but I also want to use alchemy to kind of use all of the heaviness that I might have read to shift that energy back to something that can be more positive. And so it's a constant practice, and I call it a light practice, where I'm just like, okay, that was pretty heavy article, so now I'm going to have to go and, oops, that's my monitor. Now I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to read some Wendell Berry poems. You know, I'm going to have to read something to balance that. And so just trying to stay, I guess what they would say, in the center of it all, you know, constantly is work. And you're never, ever really always there. You're just kind of dancing in the middle of it all the time.
I think so many people can relate with that. I mean, I know that I can. I want to keep up with what's going on in the world, but I don't want to be in that negative space. And you've been leading these guided meditations, and I've been doing some of them. And on this new record, you included the stay meditation. And I'm curious to know a little bit more about your practice, because it's been such a gift to your followers. I've been doing the ones that you've been posting on Instagram. I especially enjoyed the Valentine's Day meditation and all those beautiful rose petals and the crystals, and oh my God, your outfit. Just what you were wearing brought me joy even before I got to the meditation. But tell me a little bit about that practice for you. And you're wanting to share that with others because it's been really wonderful.
Yes, like I haven't wanted to share that side of myself with the world until last year. It's something that I've been doing. It's something I had to do because I guess I started really consciously doing it when I was cleaning houses and shifting my energy. When I didn't want to get up and go to work some days, I would be like, well, I'm going to, as I'm dusting, thank you because I am now radiant. Thank you because I am now radiant. Thank you because I am now radiant. Thank you because I am now glowing. And moving around a person's house and just like doing those affirmations as I was cleaning houses and seeing what I wish to see in my mind's eye then. And like I had to start working with that energy then, but as I got sick, I started working with that energy even more because I didn't really have the physical strength to get up and do some of the things that I needed to do. So I had to start to work with it in other ways. Like as I was laying down, I would send blue light up and down my body and just like see my body as healed and see myself with enough energy and strength to get out of the bed to go do stuff. And so I just started working with this kind of stuff, you know, over the last couple of decades, and it was personal to me. I didn't want to share it with the world. I only started sharing it with the world with the pandemic because I felt like these are things that might be able to help uplift other people and that have helped me in my day when I'm trying to balance some heaviness or darkness. And so I just wanted to share it because of that, because so many of us were in that heavy space, you know. And now we're in a more hopeful space in so many ways with the new year. And I feel like we have a portal that's open so that we can multiply those seeds of positivity that are already growing there. So if we just keep opening up each other's hearts with little random bits of sweetness and kindness in each moment, and using our social platforms for that, then I just wonder what kind of things we'll be creating by the end of 2021 if we're using our platforms that way, you know?
Well, I do want to tell you how much I appreciate that you did share that, because it's helped me a lot. Throughout much of my adult life, I have tried to start meditating, and then you just let it fall by the wayside, and then the years go by, and they say if you can't make 10 minutes for meditating, you probably need 2 hours. But I try to make a little time, and having these short little meditations guided by you have been really helpful. And again, thank you. I really appreciate you sharing those.
Thank you. At the end of the record, there's like 30 seconds of silence, and Jack and I were talking about it, and I just said I want to have 30 seconds of just stillness on the record that's just carved there. So a person can just listen to the music of the world around them in that time period. And right after that, it goes into starlight ethereal silence, where the birds that are in Tennessee in my yard that were singing, I recorded them, and the night creatures. And so you get to hear nature singing its song. But carving out the time to like meditate or to listen to the music of the natural world is sometimes kind of a difficult thing to do.
And that's music of another kind there.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of your love of Tennessee, you do have such a love of your hometown, and Tennessee roots just seem to pour out of your art, particularly in the sound of the single Call Me a Fool. Tell me about your connection to place.
Wow. Well, I've tried to figure out, as I've been traveling all around the world pretty intensely for the last decade, I've tried to figure out how to find home in my heart. But Tennessee is the closest thing to home that I can really say. I do live in Brooklyn, and I've had that, my roots in Brooklyn for, I guess, maybe 9 years or so. But every single year, I end up spending half the year going back to Tennessee and wanting to sit by the pond and just be in there, my family home. That's just what it is. And it's always going to be home to me for some reason. Always like the place where I go back,
I did know that you lived in Brooklyn, but I do have to remind myself that sometimes, because I do feel that connection to Tennessee coming through your music and the nature of it. But the juxtaposition, of New York and Tennessee is an interesting thing, and I'm sure that has an impact and an influence on your music as well. It's been 4 years since you put an album out into the world, which is both a short period of time, but also an enormous wait for fans like myself. And after the release of your last album, did you find yourself diving right back into songwriting, or did you take some time to pause and breathe?
Really? Breathing is something that I have to find in my present state, because I don't take time usually to not work. We released it in 2017, The Order of Time, and then we ended up going to travel all around the world playing shows for 2017, 2018, and as we were coming off the road, that's when I started to record the roots of this record with my touring band. So songs like Call Me a Fool, Stay, Smile, I just went into DeGraw Sound in Brooklyn with my guys, and we cut those songs that Jack heard the demos of, and he was like, I love those. Let's build upon it. Instead of throwing it out, he was like, no, we're working with that. And so I went right from the road right into the studio and then spent all of 2019 working on the record and also touring with kind of like solo performances. And from there, we landed at 2022, and the record was finished in January, but the year was not such that the label wanted to put out the record because of all the things that we needed to sort through with the pandemic. So now it's a perfect time, really. It's the perfect time for it to come out, and I wish, like all of us, that last year was a little different, but it is what it is. And I also wrote a book over the last 4 years, and so my very first book will be out in April, and it's in stores all over. And so I was kind of hoping that those things would get staggered a little bit, but because the record got pushed to this year, it's all at once. When it rains, it pours, Cheryl.
I was thrilled to hear that you're going to be releasing your very first book, and that's going to be on April 6th, I do believe, Maps for the Modern World, a collection of poetry and sketches. Are these areas of artwork that you've always dreamed of publishing?
Yes, always. Like, fun stuff I always wanted to do. Like, when I first moved to Memphis, I was debating whether I wanted to go to art school or if I wanted to do music. And I decided to do music because I couldn't afford to go to school. And it was like I wanted to do the thing that was a little bit more challenging for me. And so, because art is a little bit like the light side of my life. And so I decided to do music, and just like I said, with the whole journey of being a dreamer and trying to see the anatomy of a dream, choosing the more challenging of the dreams first would teach me a lot more as a dreamer on a journey than choosing the easy one. So that's why I decided to do this one.
But eventually you did it all, which I love. And I want to let people know that your new record comes out on March 12th, The Moon and the Stars, Prescriptions for Dreamers. Thank you for putting so much positivity out there in the world, Valerie. We especially can use it right now, although it's always welcome. And those beautiful songs that you just performed for us come with healing messages that really uplift us in the world today. And I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.